Hi, my name is Thomas Velvin, and I'm here with my first interviewee. State your name and your profession.
Hi, I am Elaine Velvin, and I am retired after 45 years in education, and I am Thomas's grandmother.
Thank you for being here today. Help me with this project.
My pleasure.
Okay, so the first question is, how have you handled the quarantine? So pretty much since you learned that you had to stay isolated, stay inside your house, how have you handled this whole situation, I would say?
I have quarantined. I have 100% quarantined. I have stayed in my house. I have not interacted with my family that lives in Dallas until yesterday, and that's after 6 weeks in quarantine, but we didn't touch. We were outside in a picnic area. I wear a mask when I go out. I didn't go out at all for about 4 weeks. And now if I go out, I wear a mask and gloves, rubber gloves. And I don't touch or interact anything more than I have to. And I've just gone to the grocery store.
All right, that makes sense. So is that how you would say you would get your main essentials? You would go out yourself and get it, or would you have someone get it for you and bring it to the house?
I've been going out myself. I have plenty of stores around here. I certainly have people offer, but again, I'm not interacting. I'm not touching anything or interacting, and I've just been going out and getting it myself. Now, I've also been out walking in the neighborhood, but I've just been walking. I haven't been any more than hello, how are you to anyone.
Okay. Next question is, what have you learned about yourself while in quarantine? So, like, for me, I've learned that I need to be more organized in my schoolwork for online learning and stuff. So what would you say you've learned about yourself during this time?
I've learned a couple of things. First of all, I don't know that I didn't already know it, but I really miss people. I've learned that for sure. And also, I'm very organized, so I kind of took the first several weeks to clean stuff out. I had a friend, he did a challenge, and she challenged 40 days and 40 bags of clutter. So each day you had to fill a bag. It didn't have to be a big bag. It could just be a small bag. But you had to clean out clutter, which we all have. And I did. I did 43 bags of clutter, actually. But I like to have things clean and organized. And then I got some things done around the house. I had a couple of repairs that needed done. I had those done. And people that came to do it wore masks and suits, paper suits and everything. Mm-hmm. So I had people come to do that, but they weren't, it wasn't here and it wasn't interaction. I mean, everything was a room apart. Mm-hmm. And I think I've also learned I don't particularly like the Zoom things.
The Zoom meetings, like where you have big groups of people in FaceTime or whatever.
I find I have a hard time staying engaged. And as a teacher, that would make me a better teacher. I know we have to do it, but what and how you teach has got to change completely if you're going to keep your students engaged.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that require the physical interaction in a classroom that you don't get on Zoom. It's better than nothing, but I don't like it.
Yeah, it's very different being online in a Zoom meeting versus in class because, I mean, you got to do is whatever you can to try to get the students engaged, but, I mean, the students can just, like, press leave meeting button, and then that's it, right? You got to find a way to...
the students that you have to work to keep engaged in a real classroom, it's quadrupled in a virtual classroom.
Mm-hmm.
I had a meeting. I serve on a commission for the city of Dallas, and I had a commission meeting on Monday, and it was started at 10, and it ended at 4.
Oh, wow.
And it was interesting, but it was exhausting. I mean, it was more exhausting than if I had been in the meeting from 10 until 4. And I know you can get up and go get a drink or whatever, but I just think to keep people engaged and I think it's particularly difficult with small children. And I think what I've learned, you ask what I learned, I've learned that eye contact is a huge part of communication.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized looking back that much of the control I had in the classroom, especially when I was teaching young children, was eye contact. You didn't have to say anything, but if the teacher looked at you when you were doing something you shouldn't have done, you re-engaged.
Yeah, that's super important. Okay, I'll go to the next question. What are some attitudes or actions in the world right now that drive you crazy? So, like, for me, this would be people who still meet up in big groups or who go on big bike rides as a family and stuff. I mean, it makes sense. Like, you can be with your family and stuff, but they're clearly not following the social distancing rule, which has been shared all around that this is what you need to do. So I guess for you, what are some things that that just drive you crazy? That
people not wearing masks. And I guess in part it's some of the stores, but some of the stores you can't get in unless you have your mask on. And other stores, and I've just been to grocery stores, but everybody doesn't have a mask on. And we're supposed to wear masks. That's not a complicated thing. It's all over social media. It's all over the news where you can get them. People are making them. People are selling them. You can wear a bandana if you don't want to wear a mask.
Mm-hmm.
You can wear a scarf. And they're not comfortable. I don't particularly like them. I think those N9s would be more comfortable because they don't actually touch your face. They don't touch your nose and your mouth. You can kind of breathe through them. I know they're uncomfortable, but that really gets on my nerves. In fact, it makes me angry. I've figured out that you can't particularly glare at somebody over a mask. You know, you look at them and you think, why don't you have a mask on? And other than that, what has irritated me is what I've seen on the news, which is the people. Here in Texas, we had a park that people were congregating, and the policeman went up to separate them. He didn't touch them or anything. He just asked them to social distance,
mm-hmm.
to separate. And somebody pushed him into the water, pushed him into the lake.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we've had the same things here in California. People wanting the beaches back open. Like, I should be able to surf whenever I want to. All that sort of stuff. People are not really following the rules, trying to protest almost that they're taking away their rights by closing certain spots.
Well, the thing is, they could do that. They could go to the beach or they could go to the park and stay 6 feet apart.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody would say anything if they stayed apart. But they're not doing it. They've got 6 people on a blanket at the beach.
Yeah.
We've got the same thing here. And the only reason we're doing it is to try and not die.
Yeah.
That's it. Everybody would like to live. And it's hard. I have a friend from England whose father died. And I talked to my friend every day during that time. He had COVID, and it was like he was on the news.
Wow.
He got sick. He got sicker. Nobody could go in. No one in the family could go in. It was like on the news, what we've been reading. But this was just somebody I knew. And when you have something that works, why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah.
And I don't think we've been social distanced enough.
Yeah.
You ask what else bothers me? It bothers me that our governor opened the state up too soon.
The governor of Texas? Yeah.
Yes. And the way it works is the governor trumps what the mayor said. And the mayor had us closed up. But then when the governor got tired of us being closed up, even though the mayor wanted us to stay closed, the governor has the ultimate say.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I don't understand that.
Yeah. So kind of this question kind of goes the opposite way. So the last one, like said, what kind of drives you crazy? What is some things in the world that you see that kind of give you hope, or that like something good is going to come out of this almost? Like what have you been seeing, like people doing or actions being made that inspire you?
I've seen people doing things that take, of course, generosity has been very, very evident. But I've seen people reaching out to people and people being nice to people. Before we got quarantined, for sure, some friends of mine brought a basket and left it on my front porch. And it had flowers, and it had homemade candies, and it had nuts, and it had treats. I mean, it was a full basket full of stuff. So I've seen people reaching out to each other. I've seen people checking on one another. I've had people call me just to say, are you okay? Just checking on you. Mm-hmm. And I have seen people doing things for other people. The number of people making masks has been amazing. And also, I've been impressed, and I think I don't know how it'll manifest itself, but just like here, the company that makes cheerleading uniforms, like for the Lakers girls and the Dallas Cowboy cheerleader outfits.
Yeah.
They're making protective clothing for healthcare workers. I mean,
that's nice.
Whatever you need to sew. And the companies that were making other things are making ventilators. And a lot of schools have 3D printers now, and a lot of companies do. And they're making those plastic masks that fit on a headband and cover your face.
Yeah.
And giving them to healthcare workers. So it's been pretty amazing. And I don't know. As I said, I'm an educator. I'm not a physician, but I see the communication about this kind of thing changing. I don't think we'll get this far into it before we know how bad it is again. Mm-hmm. So I think the communication will be better. But we've seen some real stupid people, that's for sure. But we've seen more really good people watching out for each other. And things like, I went to an 6-year-old's birthday party. Mm-hmm. And it was a drive-by. And they had the Happy Birthday William out front. And nobody went in. People stopped and wished him happy birthday. But there were no cupcakes, it was just well wishes. And I bet we see more of that.
Well, that's kind of funny. We had one of those as well with one of my friends. It was his birthday last week, I think. and we got a bunch of our friends and drove in front of his house, honked the horn, woke him up out of bed, and just wished him a happy birthday. But it was just cool to see. There's like, just because like people will say like, since your birthday is during this time, you don't really get to do what you want to do, but still having your friends and family like kind of drive around and just wish you a happy birthday, it's just super nice to see.
Yeah. Well, this little boy does not think he was shortcutted on a birthday party. He thought it was awesome that everybody drove by his house and honked and waved, and I thought it was very cool.
Yeah.
And I do think we'll probably do more virtual things. I think there's going to be more, not just for the quarantine, but I think there are going to be, I think,
like the future will become more virtual because we'll be so used to it almost. Like we'll know how to work it now. We'll know how to. And
I think it's going to be a while before people fly very much.
Yeah.
Flying is like being in a petri dish growing germs.
Yeah.
So I think there are going to be more virtual meetings for a while, and I think as we get used to them, they're certainly more economical than flying across the country for a meeting.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're gonna take virtual meetings more personally.
Yeah.
I do not think it will in any way replace 8th grade down education. That I think, I know what I also think has happened hugely. There's always been kind of an attitude that the lower grades you teach, the easier it is. And elementary school teachers have always made less money. Always. They make less money than high school teachers.
Mm-hmm.
It works out. Well, people who have had to spend 6 weeks at home with their 8-year-old have a whole new attitude about elementary school teachers.
Yeah.
And that isn't going to change. That is not going to change.
Well, because that's where you learn the essentials, right? I mean, like if you're like a high school student, it's still like important to learn like calculus or AP classes or whatever, but learning the basics and from the very beginning, that's like the most important part.
And it's not just the academics, it's the basics of working in a room, being in a classroom, interacting with other people. You can't take something off somebody else's desk. You can't talk when the teacher's talking. You can't talk when your friend is talking. It's not your turn.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole thing about school is it is learning how to be a person. And parents don't want to teach that. That's why they send their children to school. And children react differently to teachers than they do their parents.
Yeah.
And children react differently to the screen. To keep your children engaged, it's almost, my friends who are teachers have almost become one-on-one tutors. They may read a story to the class, but beyond that, it's pretty much one-on-one because they don't stay engaged with a picture on a screen.
Yeah.
So I think we'll see more virtual in high school and college, but we are not going to see it in elementary school.
Yeah, wouldn't be smart. Okay, so there's, of course, with this pandemic, a lot of businesses have been closing down, and that's caused a lot of problems with people being able to work. I was just wondering, for your personal, I know you're retired, but you were still tutoring before this whole happened?
Yep.
Are you still doing that during this time, or how has that changed for you? And was it
I'm not tutoring. How's it changed for me? It's a significant financial stop.
Mm-hmm.
I make on the average of $1,200 a month tutoring.
Oh, wow.
So I'm making none. Zero.
And was that a personal choice, or was that like, it would just be best if like I just stopped that, just let families...
We talked about it. They actually did a drive-by. The little boy that I tutor, the 5-year-old, loves to come here.
Mm-hmm.
He comes to me because he's very, very smart. But he's only 5 years old.
Yeah.
He can build a 9,000-piece Lego and read the direction. I mean, he's very smart. So he comes to me for enrichment, and we do a lot of fun things, and he misses me very much, and I miss him. His sister comes to me because she's in a school that half the day is in Hebrew, and we're just making sure she stays caught up on the English side.
Yeah.
So we talked about it. Their parents and I talked about it, and I also tutor another little boy. First of all, they're all quarantining. But I'm the demographic that's, they would feel terrible if anything happened to me, and we just think everybody needs to stay separate.
Yeah.
The other little boy that I tutor's father is the mayor, and he can't stay as quarantined as he'd like to. So we just shut it all down until I'll probably work with all of them again in the summer.
That's smart.
But it's, again, we've been asked to do this, and we really all need to do it, period.
Mm-hmm. And the last question, do you think some U.S. states are opening up their economy too early? Why or why not?
Absolutely, yes.
And I know because Texas was one of those first ones to actually open up most things, right? They opened up hair salons and all that.
And that's yes. I think they're too soon. I think we have a solution, and it's with reckless abandon that they are opening things too soon. And I'm healthy. I mean, I'm not sick. I'm not germy, but I'm not going to get around people who are either.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't see my family for 6 weeks. And when I saw them, we didn't hug and, hello, how are you? Everybody stayed apart.
Yeah, it's very different now.
We had 6 people, and we stayed 6 feet apart. I mean, I've been to the store. They've been to the store. We all wore masks. We all think we're safe. But who knows? So the one thing we can do is social distance. And I think if people have not shown good judgment, they open the beaches, and instead of taking your towel down and putting it 6 feet from somebody else, people are crowded all over everywhere. It's all over the news. So we as human beings have shown we can't be trusted to follow the rules. But by saying nobody can go out, that we have the problem. We have the problem of the economy, and that's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
We have to work that out.
Yeah.
But quite frankly, it's distribution. The government has money to take care of it. It can be handled. The money it's a terrible situation, but it can be handled. Dead can't be handled.
Yeah.
And people are dying of this virus. And
yeah.
we don't even know how to heal these people. We can't make them well. They don't even know what they've done to save the people that they've saved. Help them breathe. But it's not like there's a medicine that they can give them, and we're short on the medicine, so they have to manufacture more. They don't even know what to do. The doctors are very frustrated. They don't know what to do. And that's what we've got to have solved. And they're working on it. And they're working on it by getting blood from other people, and they're working on it by testing vaccines. But the bottom line is, this is a disease, this is a virus that is killing people, and we don't have a solution. So why wouldn't we stay quarantined?
Yeah. I think that's the best option. It's too early.
I do too. And I hope you get to go to school in the fall. But you know what? If you don't go to school till next fall, you and every other high school senior in the country, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
It's not your best option, but it's alive.
Yeah. You're not dead.
And the other side of this seems to be dead. So yes, I think they've opened too soon. I think Georgia opened too soon. I think Texas opened too soon. I've been very impressed with the governor of California.
Yeah, we've been doing really well. We've been making smart decisions. They had a few beaches open up in Dana Point and Huntington, but they just recently closed those down just because, I mean, it was
mayhem.
It was way too much. I mean, I drove down there just because I wanted to see it, and no social distancing whatsoever. It's like a big 4th of July. It looked like a big festival almost, just on the beach.
Yeah, it doesn't. And there's nothing about that makes sense, because the alternative to staying well is getting sick, and if you get sick, there's nothing to do. I mean, I've been quarantined to Dallas for the last year.
Yeah.
I mean, I had that little bitty trip to see you, and I'm trying to stay well. But what I was staying away from, I could go to a hospital if things went bad, you know?
Mm-hmm.
With this, if things go bad, you go to a hospital, but they aren't able to save you all the time.
Yeah.
And that's a risk that's not worth taking.
Not at all.
I don't understand it at all. So.
All right. Well, I think that's all the questions that I have. Again, thank you for being able to chat with me and stuff, and hope you stay safe.
Well, you too. And, you know, it's always a pleasure for me to get to chat with you.
Yeah.
So that's not an imposition at all. I think about you and talk about you all the time. So, and like I say, the Texas Velvins are glad to have you back here to go to school. And we were going through all the dates that TCU